And begin the exercise.
All right then, showtime.
Oh, one last thing, General. A special diplomatic envoy sent by Washington has demanded to meet you. Counselor Miller?
Of course it's Miller. No military demonstration in the world is... Keeps calling and won't give me a break if I don't throw him a bone. Go pick him up at his hotel and take him for a tour, Commander. Show him around the base, do whatever you want, as long as you keep him out of my hair. And take Williams with you. No offense, but she's more talkative than you.
Well, Commander, I guess we're the bone then. Miller's hotel is on the way to the training area. Let's hope he's in a better mood than the General.
Awaiting commands. Humvee awaiting orders. Roger. Moving to next waypoint. Copy. Relocating. Roger. We're Oscar Mike.
There are units from all three Baltic states regrouped here. Lithuanian artillery, mechanized infantry from Latvia, as well as reservists in armored vehicles from Estonia. They have different equipment, different tactics, speak different languages. Creating an interoperable force in this region is a real headache.
Moving there now.
Yeah, you should shut up. It's your job.
Out.
Counselor Miller, I am Major Williams. It's a pleasure to have you with us. The Commander and I will show you around on our way to the General. Please hop in.
Well, it's about time. Let's go. Take me to the training ground first. I need to make sure that our equipment is showcased in the best possible conditions.
The exercise is about to start, so you will be able to see for yourself. But I didn't know there was a show.
This whole exercise is for show, Major. A show of force for our potential enemies, but also an arms fair for our partners.
I see. And which partners are we trying to impress today, Counselor?
That's confidential. Just drive, Major.
Someone call for a cab? Good copy. Next waypoint received. Already there.
Are we there yet, Major?
Almost, sir.
Metal.
do anything to be cleaned up after Russia wins, if they win. Okay. What do I do? Oh.
Humvee standing by. Copy. Relocating.
This is the artillery training ground, Counselor. Here our soldiers practice fire mission procedures. The commander will make a demonstration for you.
Well, let's see how much time it'll take you to hit all these targets, Commander.
Mortar ready. Send mission. Mortar available, sir. Mortar ready to engage, sir.
Well, I don't have all day, Commander. Will you manage to hit or target or not?
Mortar ready to fire.
Is there a problem, Commander? The mortars are waiting for a fire mission order to destroy the targets.
Who needs support? Mortar at your command, sir. Who wants a skylight for his house? Mortar ready. Send coordinates. Mortar ready, sir. Mortar ready. Send coordinates. Mortar at your command, sir. Mortar ready. Send mission. Roger. Fire coordinates received.
Dispersion increases with distance. That's why more rounds are needed to hit targets located further away.
Copy. Fire mission
Smart
received.
munitions don't have this problem. They are much more accurate and can correct their trajectory to hit a target designated by a laser.
Good copy. Fire coordinates received. Who wants a skylight for his house? Fire coordinates received. Mortar available, sir.
As you can see, our latest battlefield management interface enables extremely responsive fire missions.
It was I who sold that concept to Congress. Glad to see it works in practice, too.
So how is your hotel, counselor? I've heard it's quite fancy.
Apart from the fact that I was woken up every 20 minutes by helicopters passing right over my head, it was lovely.
Troop transport ready! Humvee reporting in. Roger, moving out. Roger, we're Oscar Mike.
Hey, why is the radar of this Patriot turned off?
It's the standard procedure to keep the radar turned off by default, to keep the unit mobile and avoid destruction by anti-radiation missiles. They can still use their backup tracking systems to target aircraft, but in this mode, their detection and engagement range are limited.
The higher they fly, the further
Then
they
switch
fall.
this radar on, Commander. Let's see how far target practice drones can be detected and engaged.
Looking for enemy contact. Solid copy. Advance and report.
Sir, the vehicles must be kept on the shooting platform for safety reasons.
Anti-aircraft standing by. Radar turned on. Looking for airplanes.
Wow! The range of these missiles is impressive.
The efficiency of the radar depends on the altitude of the target. Low-flying aircraft are harder to detect, and helicopters cannot be targeted at all as they fly below the minimum detection altitude of the radar. That's why short-range air defense, SHORAD, is needed to complement long-range surface-to-air missiles.
Humvee awaiting commands. Air defense here. We're combat ready. Humvee ready. Cannot comply. Humvee here. Moving there now. The higher they fly, the further they fall. Roger. Moving to next waypoint. Humvee reporting in.
A fine demonstration of our firepower, Commander. The message is clear. No country equipped with our anti-aircraft systems need worry about its airspace being violated.
Armored transport, ready. Someone asked for a ride? Personal carrier here.
Can you step on the gas a bit? We're crawling.
Sorry, sir. There are strict speed regulations on the base.
Yeah, of course there are.
Troop transport reporting in. Troop transport, standing by. Armored transport reporting in.
Helicopters are impressive machines. Boy, are they noisy.
Our pilots are ready to take off. Do you want to hop in for a ride, Counselor?
Certainly. It'll be a nice change from those little private helicopters that fly like cabs.
Cargo helicopters can transport troops and supplies, but also vehicles as long as their weight allows it. One of our vehicles broke down during a maneuver exercise. Let's go and recover it with our helicopter.
Heavy transport ready. Flying there now. Heavy transport here. Chinook here. Flight plan confirmed.
Armored transport reporting in.
Chinook. Chinook, reporting in. Call my helo fat again. Flight path updated.
Personal carrier here. Troop transport ready.
Chinook, awaiting mission. Chinook, standing by. Flying NOE. Chinook. Here we go. Flying low. Chinook is mission ready. Laying down suppressive fire. Heavy transport here. Heavy transport ready. Call my helo fat again. Chinook here. Coordinates received. Thrusting forward. Flying to board. New flight path set. Chinook, awaiting mission.
The hooks are in place. Now let's drop it off at the repair station.
Heading there now. Already there. Eye in the sky. Chinook, at your command. Chinook, reporting in. New flight plan received. Cargo dropped.
Armored transport, ready.
Heavy transport ready. Staying low. Chinook, awaiting mission. Ascending. Chinook is mission ready. Thrusting forward. Coordinates received. Chinook. Heading there now. New flight path set. Flight path updated. Roger that. Search and destroy. Chinook, at your command. Roger that. Sweeping the area. Call my helo fat again. Heavy transport here.
Troop transport, standing by.
Chinook, standing by. Target coordinates received.
for transport. Standing by.
Chinook here. Clear to engage.
Someone call for a cab?
Heavy transport ready. Call my helo fat again. Already there. Chinook is mission ready. Heavy transport here. Flight plan confirmed. Flying to coordinates. Flying there now. Already there. Flying under radars. Switching altitude. Chinook standing by. American military presence in the Baltics has been reinforced in response to the Russian military exercises held on both sides of the Sawatki Gap in Kaliningrad and Belarus. With more than 40,000 military personnel involved, ships, tanks, planes, and helicopters, it's the biggest military exercise ever held in the region. Camp Herkus, the new permanent U.S. base in the region, is at the epicenter of tensions, as U.S. and Russian military exercises are held simultaneously less than 20 miles away from each other.
The need for the permanent deployment of U.S. forces in Lithuania is more apparent than ever, and we are looking forward to continuing to take advantage of opportunities to enhance the interoperability of our forces, providing a credible deterrent against any potential aggression, and to operate more effectively should deterrence fail.
General Bennett, you are in charge of U.S. military operations in the region. Why are U.S. forces in such close proximity to the Russian exercise? Don't you fear this aggressive posture could lead to an escalation?
Last time I checked, Lithuania was a sovereign country. If it is their wish to host permanent U.S. forces on their soil, I don't see why Moscow should have a say in that. Now, if you excuse me, I have a military exercise to prepare.
Thank you, General Bennett.
Good morning, Commander. So, have you seen me on the news? Every... keeps calling and won't give me a break if I don't throw him a bone. Go pick him up at his hotel and take him for a tour, Commander. Show him around the base, do whatever you want, as long as you keep him out of my hair. And take Williams with you. No offense, but she's more talkative than you.
Well, Commander, I guess we're the bone then. Miller's hotel is on the way to the training area. Let's hope he's in a better mood than the General.
Humvee here. Go ahead. Humvee ready. Personal carrier ready. Good copy. Next waypoint received. Roger. We're on the move.
There are units from all three Baltic states regrouped here. Lithuanian artillery, mechanized infantry from Latvia, as well as reservists and armored vehicles from Estonia. They have different equipment, different tactics, speak different languages. Creating an interoperable force in this region is a real headache.
Miller keeps calling. What are you doing, Commander? Go get him so he'll leave me alone. Why is Miller still calling me, Commander? Go pick him up.
Moving there now. Roger. Moving out. Humvee here.
Counselor Miller, I am Major Williams. It's a pleasure to have you with us. The commander and I will show you around on our way to the general. Please hop in.
Well, it's about time. Let's go. Take me to the training ground first. I need to make sure that our equipment is showcased in the best possible conditions.
The exercise is about to start, so you will be able to see for yourself. But I didn't know there was a show.
This whole exercise is for show, Major. A show of force for our potential enemies, but also an arms fair for our partners.
We're Oscar Mike.
I see. And which partners are we trying to impress today, Counselor?
That's confidential. Just drive, Major.
Already there. Roger. Moving to next waypoint. Pedal to the metal.
Are we there yet, Major?
Almost, sir.
Good copy. Next waypoint received.
This is the artillery training ground, Counselor. Here our soldiers practice fire mission procedures. The commander will make a demonstration for you.
Well, let's see how much time it'll take you to hit all these targets, Commander.
Order ready to engage, sir. Roger. Call for fire received. Who needs support? Call for fire received. Fire mission received. Roger. Fire mission received. Order ready. Send mission. Copy. Call for fire received.
Dispersion increases with distance. That's why more rounds are needed to hit targets located further away. Smart munitions don't have this problem. They are much more accurate and can correct their trajectory to hit a target designated by a laser.
Order ready to engage, sir. Good copy.
As you can see, our latest battlefield management interface enables extremely responsive fire missions.
It was I who sold that concept to Congress. Glad to see it works in practice, too.
So how is your hotel, Counselor? I've heard it's quite fancy.
Moving there now.
Apart from the fact that I was woken up every 20 minutes by helicopters passing right over my head, it was lovely. Why is the radar of this Patriot turned off?
Air defense
It's the
here.
standard procedure to keep the radar turned off by
Radar
default,
activated.
to keep the
Looking for
unit
airplanes.
mobile and avoid destruction by anti-radiation missiles. They can still use their backup tracking systems to target aircraft, but in this mode, their detection and engagement range are limited.
Then switch this radar on, Commander. Let's see how far target practice drones can be detected and engaged. Wow, the range of these missiles is impressive.
The efficiency of the radar depends on the altitude of the target. Low-flying aircraft are harder to detect, and helicopters cannot be targeted at all as they fly below the minimum detection altitude of the radar. That's why short-range air defense, SHORAD, is needed to complement long-range surface-to-air missiles.
Engaging hostiles.
Sir, the vehicles must be kept on the shooting platform for safety reasons.
Air defense at your disposal, sir. Roger. We're on the move. Roger. We're Oscar Mike. Anti-aircraft here, at your command. Pedal to the metal. Air defense, standing by. Radar activated.
A fine demonstration of our firepower, Commander. The message is clear. No country equipped with our anti-aircraft systems need worry about its airspace being violated.
Personal carrier ready. Already there.
Can you step on the gas a bit? We're crawling.
Sorry, sir. There are strict speed regulations on the base.
Yeah, of course there are. Helicopters are impressive machines. Boy, are they noisy.
Our pilots are ready to take off. Do you want to hop in for a ride, Counselor?
Certainly. It'll be a nice change from those little private helicopters that fly like cabs.
Cargo helicopters can transport troops and supplies, but also vehicles as long as their weight allows it. One of our vehicles broke down during a maneuver exercise. Let's go and recover it with our helicopter.
Chinook, at your command. Chinook.
The hooks are in place. Now let's drop it off at the repair station.
Thrusting forward. Coordinates received. New flight path set. Low and slow. Solid copy. We unload here.
The vehicle has been unloaded. The mechanics will get it back in working order. How about a little target practice now, Counselor? Get behind one of the machine guns, and we'll put you in range of some targets to shoot at.
But I have never fired a machine gun before.
Don't worry. It's very simple, and I'll be here to help.
Today we welcome here Laura Loomer, the most influential American independent journalist who came here to Kyiv, to Ukraine, to see for herself how country is living at war and has been living for the past 4 years. Laura, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here with basically the most famous news reporter in all of Ukraine. So
thank you so much.
I hear you're a very popular broadcaster.
But I hear that you are a very influential person in the United States, and you made such a brave decision to come here and to see for yourself what is going on. What was your first impression when you arrived?
Well, it took a very long time to get to Ukraine, as you know, because the airspace is closed. And so there were some people who knew I was coming to Ukraine. I didn't really tell a lot of people because I wanted it to, I wanted to, for security reasons too, I wanted to keep it under wraps because recently I started getting targeted by Russia Today, and they started posting a lot of really negative things about me. So I figured that I wouldn't tell anybody I was in Ukraine till I was here. But it's unfortunate that people have to spend such a long time traveling to Ukraine because you can't fly direct, and it was a pain really to have to get on the train and take a very long train. But I think that really also put things into perspective for me, because it made me realize that the people of Ukraine are literally hostages, and I started to think a lot about how President Trump and the United States of America invested so much time and energy into trying to release the Hamas, the hostages that Hamas was holding in Gaza. And, those are hostages that were held in tunnels. And when you think about it, really, all of Ukraine, in a sense, it's kind of like one giant tunnel where everybody's being held hostage, because to have the ability to freely move taken away from you, it must be very scary, knowing that even if you wanted to buy a plane ticket or hop on a plane and escape Russian missiles, Russian ballistic missiles or drones, you literally can't, because you only have a limited amount of train tickets. And so it was kind of shocking to me to see how difficult it is and how far in advance you have to book all of your train travel, and it made me feel very sad for the people of Ukraine.
When you stepped out of your train in Kiev, in the capital, was anything you saw around yourself was what you expected to see?
Well, it's a very metropolitan city. It just seemed very, very calm at the time. From what I've seen online, just from social media and news reportings, I was expecting there to be a lot more destruction and a lot more rubble. And of course, the train ended up taking about 15 hours. And so, when I wasn't sleeping and it was light outside, I could look out the window and I could see some of the areas that had been destroyed. And the train conductor was telling us how the Russians try to bomb, the train stations to destabilize the ability for people to travel freely. But I was surprised at how, resilient the people of Ukraine are, because you walk out of the train station and people are living their lives. Nobody's hiding. People are happy, people are smiling, people are walking their dogs. I like dogs, and I've noticed that there's a lot of people with dogs here. So I was a little shocked to see how put together the city looked, because I was expecting it to look more devastated from destruction.
Were you scared to travel here?
So I will admit that I was a little nervous the night before traveling, because the day before I was supposed to get on the airplane is when Russia fired 40 ballistic missiles into Kyiv. And so I remember thinking, wow, am I going to get blown up in my hotel? Because that was the most aggressive attack that they have conducted yet, from my understanding, from reading about it, in Kyiv. And so from the news reports, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like that was a pretty significant escalation by Russia, and they've had other attacks. But, I started thinking to myself, am I going to, find myself in a situation now that the United States is talking about secondary sanctions?
Specific woman who had an abortion, including tracking her in states where abortion is legal, right? So, welcome to Skynet, welcome to the new age. All right, we're going to dive into these stories here. Yes, people are going, what the fuck, what? Yeah, no, it's fucking diabolical. Before we dive in, hi, how are you? I'm Chris Valenti, and this is the Valenti VOD. This is real independent media. I've never had a conversation with an advertiser, a sponsor, a billionaire, a government, a PAC, or any of that shit. All the money that I make is straight up grassroots funded by you, the viewer. So, if you want to help support this channel, there's a couple of ways to do it. The free ways are as follows. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and also share this video in your group chat of dumb fuck idiots, okay? Do that right now. It's free, and it helps me out a lot. If you do want to help this channel financially, you want to help put food in Luigi's bellies, Jesus, in Luigi's belly, and you want to keep the lights on in here and keep the OAL Media empire growing, there's a couple of ways you can. You could buy merch, like the posters behind me. We also have mugs, we got hoodies, we got low-cut shirts, we got all that jazz located down below. You can click the thanks button down below to become to tip me directly. You can click the join button down below to become a member of the channel for $5. That'll give you access to member-only content, including some great emojis. And then last, but certainly not least, you can become a patron on Patreon by donating $5, $6, $7, $10,000. Whatever you want to donate on Patreon, it gives you access to every single video I make on Patreon. That way, if you don't have YouTube Premium, you don't have to watch the stupid fucking advertisements. Okay, without further ado, we are going to dive right into the story here. So this is the post that we got from CENTCOM. Now, always remember that whenever you're reading something from CENTCOM, you have to take it with a grain of salt. CENTCOM is notorious for lying to the American people. U.S. and Saudi forces strike Iran-backed terrorist sites in Iraq, Tampa, Florida. U.S. Central Command and the Saudi Arabian Armed Forces conducted precision strikes in Iraq July 28th against Iran-aligned terrorists that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, directed to attack U.S. forces and Saudi energy infrastructure. This strike, by the way, it killed 20-plus people. We don't know if these were civilians. We don't know if these were militants. We don't know who the fuck they were, but we know it killed 20-plus people. U.S. and Saudi fighter aircraft struck multiple terrorist logistics and weapons sites across eastern Iraq in a strong response to over 30 IRGC-directed aerial drone attacks in the last 72 hours. The unwarranted attacks against U.S. forces were not successful. Unwarranted. Get the fuck out of my face, bro. Unwarranted. This entire war was unwarranted, and you started it. Quick burp. Forgive me. From February through April 2026, there were more than 600 attempted attacks on U.S. citizens and facilities by Iran-aligned terrorist militias in Iraq. The IRGC and its terrorist proxies must cease these attacks to avoid further U.S. military response. I love how they claim this is like unwarranted. Meanwhile, we quite literally started a war in the name of Israel, and that's not my opinion. That is what Marco Rubio said on day 2 of Operation Epstein's Fury. He said it himself. He said, we are fighting this war for Israel. Israel gave us intelligence that the Iranians were 2 weeks away from having a nuclear weapon, just like they have been 2 weeks away from having a nuclear weapon since 1989. And that's why we waged this war. That's not my fucking take. That is quite literally what Marco Rubio said. Second post here from CENTCOM regarding the surprise attack on our troops. At 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard, this is yesterday, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps forces launched multiple ballistic missiles from Iran in an attempted surprise attack on U.S. forces based in the Middle East. All Iranian missiles were successfully intercepted. Yeah, I don't believe that. You're going to have to provide some evidence for that, and I guarantee you, we're going to see footage in like a week of those missiles hitting our fucking bases. All Iranian missiles were successfully intercepted. U.S. forces remain vigilant and at a high state of readiness. Look at this. Look at this response. I think that's a top-rated response. No more wars for Israel with all those fucking caskets. So yeah, quick reminder: if you're an enlisted service member, you're gonna end up dying in the Middle East in the name of Israel. And if you do happen to make it home, you're gonna get spit in your eye for committing war crimes in the name of Israel. All right, so I got some details about yesterday's strikes. This is a relatively long article, so we're not gonna read the entire thing, but we are gonna read some of it. Iran hits U.S. and Jordan. U.S.-Saudi strikes on Iraq. Is the war spreading? The U.S. says it intercepted an Iranian surprise attack on U.S. forces as fears of a wider war. There's a little video here. U.S. and Saudi forces launching strikes on Iranian-aligned groups in Iraq.
لا إله إلا الله حاليا ضربوا اللواء اللي مال الحشد اللي بالدير.
Saudi Arabia says it was acting in self-defense. Saudi Arabia has learned a lot from the United States of America, claiming that everything is self-defense, when out of absolutely fucking nowhere, Saudi Arabia was the one who bombed a Yemeni airport, and that was why the what is it called? The Houthis decided to blockade the Red Sea and the Bab el-Mandeb and start bombing Saudi Arabian ports. So none of this is self-defense. This is all brought upon themselves, the Saudis. All right, let's read. Iran has fired several ballistic missiles at United States military installations in Jordan, and the U.S. has confirmed it has intercepted a, quote, surprise attack on its forces in the Middle East. Also on Wednesday morning, the U.S. and Saudi Arabia launched attacks on Iran-backed groups in Iraq. It is unclear whether Iran's attack on Jordan happened before or after the U.S.-Saudi attack on Iraq. A statement from the U.S. Military Central Command did not clarify which incident happened first. Here is a closer look at what happened and whether this means the war is spreading. Early on Wednesday, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said it had fired multiple ballistic missiles at U.S. military installations in Jordan. The U.S. confirmed it had intercepted a surprise attack. CENTCOM, the IRGC, and Jordanian authorities have yet to reveal exactly which military sites and assets were targeted in Jordan. Also on Wednesday, Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Defense said its armed forces, in coordination with CENTCOM, had conducted attacks against Iran-backed groups in Iraq after drone attacks on Saudi petroleum facilities. Dude, this is literally deja fucking vu. This is literally deja vu back to 2006. Because remember, we didn't invade Iraq because of something Iraq did. No, we invaded Iraq because of something a terrorist organization did. We were hunting down Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, right? But now we're bombing Iraq, not because of something Iraq did, but because of what a terrorist organization, Iranian, the IRGC. That, like, we're literally back in the early 2000s. And we're also back in the 2000s because you're hearing all of these Republican senators say that if Democrats don't support the $1.5 trillion military budget, they actually want our troops to die, which is verbatim, word for fucking word, bar for fucking bar, exactly what was on every news media outlet back in the early 2000s. Iraq, Jesus Christ, man, I can't do this. Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces said the U.S.-Saudi attacks killed at least 20 of its fighters and wounded 32 in 7 provinces. The PMF is an umbrella group for armed groups in Iraq, some of which are loyal to Iran. Jesus, ever-loving fuck. All right, why did the U.S. and Saudi Arabia attack Iraq? The U.S. and Saudi Arabia justified their attacks on Iraq by claiming Iran was responsible for a recent drone attack on Saudi oil facilities, apparently launched from Iraqi territory. The U.S. and Saudi Arabia said Iran-aligned groups in Iraq carried out, quote, 30 IRGC-directed drone attacks in 72 hours. The accusation prompted a warning by an unnamed Iranian defense official via the state broadcaster, the Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting, that blaming Iran for such attacks was a major miscalculation. Really fucking bad. Okay, why did Iran attack Jordan? Now remember, guys, anytime you hear about Iran attacking like these Gulf coastal nations, Jordan, the UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, they're not actually attacking those nations. They are attacking U.S. bases in those nations. And that is considered U.S. soil, so much so that if you are born in a U.S. base in Jordan, you are still technically born in the United States of America. You understand that? So, and also, surprise, surprise, when you scatter military bases across the entire fucking planet, it makes your enemies a lot easier for them to bomb you, because now they don't have to send a fucking missile halfway across the world over the Atlantic Ocean to bomb the U.S. mainland. They can just bomb your fucking bases all over the world. Iran's latest attack on Jordan follows its pattern of targeting U.S. military assets and infrastructure in the Gulf countries, which it has been doing since the start of the U.S.-Israel war on Iran on February 28th. While it has not revealed which military sites and assets were targeted in Jordan, the country is known to host about 4,000 U.S. soldiers who are stationed there, according to a 2026 U.S. Congressional Research Service report. Some of the service members are based at the Muwafaq Saltai Air Base in northeastern Jordan. The King Faisal Air Base is a Jordanian base at which U.S. soldiers also maintain a presence, while Tower 22 is a remote U.S. military logistics outpost in northeastern Jordan near the borders with Syria and Iraq. Dude, this Zin is making me burp. I know I burp a lot, but the Zin is making it even crazier. Is that a thing? Okay, quote, Iran's strikes on Jordan last night show that Tehran still believes deterrence is achieved through proactive military action, Oskalik said. Reports that U.S. interceptor stockpiles have been running low may also have shaped calculations in the IRGC. Dude, yesterday, one of my buddies, Anthony, if you ever watched this, he asked me, he said, Chris, there's a new ceasefire. Do you think the ceasefire is going to hold? And I went, no. No, of course not. And I said to him, I said, it doesn't help that every media outlet, including myself, is reporting on the fact that the United States of America is out of ammo. We're out of ammo. We are rationing our interceptors. We have fired 80% of our interceptors in 5 fucking months. We are out of Patriot missiles. And if I'm reporting this, then the Iranians know this intelligence too. So why the fuck would they ever have a ceasefire when the American military is on its heels? More broadly, there is a strong sense of the Iranian leadership that is engaged in an existential struggle and that putting pressure on the Trump regime remains an important objective. Could the war spread? Fearing that the conflict could spread, Middle East and other countries are trying to de-escalate the situation. The conflict has already spilled over to the Red Sea, where Yemen's Iran-backed Houthis have announced. And I said to him, I said, it doesn't help that every media outlet, including myself, is reporting on the fact that the United States of America is out of ammo. We're out of ammo. We are rationing our interceptors. We have fired 80% of our interceptors in 5 fucking months. We are out of Patriot missiles. And if I'm reporting this, then the Iranians know this intelligence too. So why the fuck would they ever have a ceasefire when the American military is on its heels? More broadly, there is a strong sense of the Iranian leadership that is engaged in an existential struggle and that putting pressure on the Trump regime remains an important objective. Could the war spread? Fearing that the conflict could spread, Middle East and other countries are trying to de-escalate the situation. The conflict has already spilled over to the Red Sea, where Yemen's Iran-backed Houthis have announced a blockade and targeted Saudi-flagged ships, and to the Caspian Sea, where Ukraine said on Saturday that it had hit vessels carrying Iranian-linked military cargo. All right, we're
down the stairs! Down the stairs! Let's go! Down! Wait! Tony, get the enemy! Get him! On his side, on his back, roll in front! Great! Come in!
I'm Aussie. I'm from Australia. I'm a part of Med Team Alpha in the International Legion for the defence of Ukraine. I have like a military background in Australia, so a lot of the skills that I had wouldn't transfer over to other jobs and stuff like that. So I thought Ukraine would be the perfect opportunity to, one, help out the country as a whole and use my skills to a good use. I mainly wanted to do this because I got sick of training and not actually getting to put my skills to use or use them for what they were intended for. I loved my past job. I did good in it. I learnt a lot. I had a lot of skills, had a lot of friends and stuff like that. However, it was definitely time to come over here and provide whatever skills I had. Obviously, like, social media is the biggest recruiter thing at the moment for Ukraine. And the Med Team Alpha page, the Gore Legion page, like the Shane Degenerate page was like #1 motivator for what you can do, what you can achieve, and like what you can give back to Ukraine. So the first firefight I had with Russians, we were clearing a building. There was 4 of us on the assault element, and there was 6 suspected Russians, and we had a QRF element waiting for us to come in. We cleared the building, cleared all around it, couldn't find anyone. And then heat signature told us they were on one of the floors there. So we moved to that floor. The infantry guys in front of me were looking around, couldn't find anything. And from there, I popped my head around a corner and looked into where a bathroom was. And from there, I could just see a face looking at me. And I pulled back a little bit. It was like, what the hell's that? from there, I immediately fired back, killing 2 or 3 of them in this room. And then the other infantry guy helped me fire back. It was about a 2-minute gunfight within 5 to 10 meters at the whole time. And then we finished them off with a thermobaric grenade and then immediately applied medical aid to the casualties. The soldiers we encountered weren't extremely bad, however they weren't well drilled. Mostly what we found is they would have 1 or 2 people that are really well kitted, good weapons and good drills, which indicates that they're pairing really experienced dudes with a lot less experienced dudes. You can tell that by their tactics as well. They would send the inexperienced dudes into the open areas to test the waters a little bit to see if they would get shot, and then they would plan their own route off that. They're pretty well kitted. They have armor-piercing rounds. They have level 4, level 5 plates. They have good helmets. They have helmet cams. They have radios. So at the start, we found that they would send in the maybe the less drilled, the conscript type troops, and then by the end of that, they would be sending in a lot better people to do the assaults, a lot better people to try and get us out of the basements and get us out of the buildings. So the second engagement, we knew there was 2 enemy in this compound. So myself and Omega Assault Element decided to push that and kill the enemy.
Síguelo de cerca, síguelo de cerca. Síguelo de cerca. Síguelo de cerca. Fast, fast, fast. Tiro granada, tiro granada. Fast, fast. Tiro granada, tiro granada para abajo. Sí. Ok, granada. Suka. Okay, let's go. Arriba, arriba, abajo, vamos abajo, vamos abajo.
I'll watch out.
Uy, prepara una granada, prepara una granada. Voy a lanzar granada. Voy a lanzar granada, córrese, córrese, apéese la play. Limpio, limpio. Aquí está.
Uy.
Y sigue, limpio. Muy mal.
That a 40 mil? FPV, FPV!
As we were clearing up the stairs, again, we were pre-firing corners, we were grenading any potential area that the enemy could be hiding.
Al lado de él, por su espalda. Ok, derecha, derecha, vaya a la derecha. Muy mal, cubre la izquierda. Cubre la izquierda, cubre la izquierda.
Ya.
Limpio. Ok, prosión atrás. Let's go. Go. Up. Chad, más rápido. Muy mal, rápido. cubre arriba, cubre arriba. Plus vite, plus vite. Ah, un peu plus vite. C'est pas souple, bien. Là, il faut ouvrir la fenêtre. Non, non. Ouvrir la porte. Hein? La porte. La porte. Ok. Grenade. Attention, vous n'oubliez pas de reculer. Tiens, grenade. Grenade, derrière moi, dans mon dos. Grenade, viens. Ok, sauve la scène. One moment.
Because this is a red herring, this thing. And I'm going to make a prediction about how this... What this says is that any country that...
Stuck. Locked.
It's close?
It's close. I think it's just like bended.
No. Ok, si c'est clair, venez ici. Si c'est clair, viens. Venez ici. Il y a un pot, il est fermé. Là. Tire sur la porte.
Ah, fuck. Suka. Comunícale por radio, Chista. Okay.
Arriba, está ahí. No, otro.
FPV.
FPV. Sol, sale de la ventana.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, let's go. Atrás de él. Muy mal, atrás de él. Atrás de él.
Porta aquí atrás, detrás de esa puerta.
Move. Move up, move up. Grenade. What? ¿Tienen granadas arriba? Sí, sí. Aquí hay granada, ¿va? Aquí. Ay, más vas. No, ahí. Me fijo. No hagan eso. Ahora, let's go.
Fucking hell.
Come in! Off! What the fuck? The fuck? Drop! Fuck!
Бій за висоту 105-106 це найжорстокіший бій за будь-яку позицію, яку ми бачили. Вона є панівною, одною з панівних висот в смузі нашої бригади. І противник зосередив дуже багато засобів для того, щоб її втримати. Я думаю, що дана позиція увійде в історію як зразковий штурм, який виконаний на характері, на натиску на противника.
Fucking hell.
Fine. Shooting Yuki. That's Russian. Go.
Push left into the entrance! Throw frag! Filter left into the entrance! Filter left into the entrance!
Лезут! Автомат, автомат, автомат!
Это на меня тип смотрит. И тут уже с левой стороны один уже обходит.
Еще! Хакер, срочно нужна помощь, срочно!
До 12 человек их там насчитали.
Заряжайся, отстреливайся!
Он впервые в окопе.
Дозвольте, Матадор, будь ласка.
Вот, как видите, вот мой автомат лежит, отломалась даже ручка.
А як так сталося?
Со всего, чего хочешь.
Россияне не просто остановились, они бежали с ужасом. Здорово, нам. Как дела?
За Україну,
Вітаю, друзі! Сьогодні у нас просто унікальний гість. Український солдат, піхотинець, який провів бій, який сотні мільйонів переглядів набрав в усьому світі, який оприлюднили усі новинні ресурси. Я думаю, що всі ми хотіли дізнатись, хто ця людина, як він дійшов, як він дістався перемоги у цьому бою. І я дуже пишаю, що в мене випала така честь.
Hello, everybody. People are rolling in already. Let me pop off on Instagram real quick. I'm live on YouTube right now. We're doing some World War III updates. We're talking about how the war has spread all the way to Iraq now and how the Iranians launched a surprise attack on our bases in Jordan yesterday. And then CENTCOM is now lying and claiming that they intercepted every single missile and every single drone. They didn't. And the reason I know that is because CENTCOM is saying it. But come tune in on the live stream on YouTube. We're going to be talking about all the updates you need to know for World War III. Hello, everybody. I'm live on YouTube. Valenti videos on YouTube.
I'm sure you've seen.
Hello, everybody. How are ya? How you doing? 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 Is Ukraine already begging Iran not to respond? Ukraine says Iran attack was an accident. Where did you get that intel? Where'd you get that? Oh my God, you're right. Or at least that's what I'm seeing. I wonder how many hours I've spent watching your content. It's been a great 15 months. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Let me send. I'll get a look at it in 1 second. I just want to see this story. This is what I have here. I've never heard of Daily Saba. Sounds Israeli. Ukraine says Iran ship strike unintentional, seeks to avoid escalation. Kyiv said it did not attack the target. Diplomatic outreach came after Zelensky said Kyiv had carried a following phone call. Okay, so Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha said he had been assured that the reported strike was an accident. Oh, so Arachi wrote this on Twitter. Let's see if we can find it. Wow. Wow, you're right. Holy shit. Holy shit. That's crazy. That's hilarious, dude. Pretty much fucking immediately. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'm so sorry, actually. Whoopsie boopsie. That was an accident. That's hilarious. Here, fresh off a workout? Nice, brother. Nice. Did you work your balls? You got to remember to work your balls. Oh, this is great. Big fan of this one. Big fan of this one. All right, so you want to get me in there? Just my face, maybe? Just me in the middle? You ready? You ready, Nelson? You ready, Big Daddy? Good? You dig? You dig? You dig? I think he digs, because I see him working. Whew.
will be hitting them hard. They're going to get a beating. So clearly the United States is going to respond to what the president described as a surprise attack. He says U.S. forces had just minutes to shoot down these incoming Iranian ballistic missiles.
Well, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has carried out a surprise strike against the United States Air Base in Jordan, which really does mark the first time Iran has decided to carry out an offensive attack against a U.S. base. Now, when it comes to surprise attacks, as we know, the United States certainly specializes in that. But in this case, it was the Iranians who decided to escalate the situation following news that Donald Trump had decided to pause bombing Iran due to the fact that we're running low on interceptor missiles. So news hits that Trump was convinced to stop bombing because of the interceptor missile situation. That is a vulnerability that Trump knew about a year in advance, by the way, and I'm going to prove that by providing the receipts in just a bit. We should have never started the war, but now it appears Iran has us cornered because of the lack of military capabilities necessary to effectively respond for a prolonged period of time. We should have never entered this war. Let's be very clear about that. Now, it is likely that Iran is willing to gamble on this escalation due to the fact that Trump continues to make all sorts of unhinged threats against Iran's civilian infrastructure. And then he likes to couple that with the reality that we're low on missile interceptors. How is that a smart thing to do as the leader of this country? It's not. It's a dumb thing to do. But something tells me that we're in for a long series of dumb things Trump likes to do. So earlier Wednesday, Iran said it had targeted a U.S. base in Jordan in response to aggressive actions by the U.S. military, and Jordan said its air defenses intercepted 5 Iranian missiles. Now, Trump said that the U.S. only had minutes to respond and be able to intercept those attacks from the Iranians. But nonetheless, as you heard in the video earlier, Donald Trump did in fact say that there will be a response, there will be retaliation. And of course, he used the foul language in order to send that message to the Iranians. Now, the New York Times reported that just last week, hundreds of Jordanian political, legal, and other figures actually signed this open letter to their government, and they're trying to send a message to the United States as well. This was a letter that they signed last week. So this is prior to the latest escalation featuring Iran doing a surprise strike on a U.S. military base in Jordan. But the reason why they put this letter out is because unlike the Jordanian government, the people of Jordan want the United States out of their country. And I don't begrudge them for wanting that. I would want that as well, because simply hosting U.S. military bases in your country, especially if you happen to be in the Middle East, essentially ends up making you a target. It'll drag your country into a war that they shouldn't be involved in. And that's what the people of Jordan, at least when it comes to this letter, are trying to communicate here. So this is a rare rebuke and public challenge to the Jordanian government. And I just want to give you a quick excerpt of it where they say, quote, "We maintain that their presence exposes Jordan to security, political, and economic risks that serve no national interest and increases the likelihood of our country being dragged into a regional conflict to which it is not a party." Something tells me that our Gulf allies certainly feel the same way. At least the people living in those countries feel the same way. And I've been saying for quite some time now that the governments or the leadership in these countries are in no way indicative of how the people of these countries feel about Israel or about hosting U.S. military bases. Now, the presence of U.S. forces and these bases has basically exposed the Jordanians to danger, including, by the way, debris falling from Iranian missiles that are intercepted. there's all sorts of material that ends up dropping from the sky. And I think there's this big misconception that, well, as long as the missiles are intercepted, everything's good. No, and by the way, these are missiles that are being intercepted on behalf of Israel because that's where the missiles are going. So they get intercepted above Jordan's territory. And then you have, all of the material from that interception falling onto the heads of the Jordanian people, and that's dangerous. So that's like best case scenario if they continue hosting a US airbase in Jordan. Now, it does look like Trump has already made good on his promise to retaliate against Iran, but Iran has responded to that retaliation. So at least when it comes to Iranian-backed groups through the region, it looks like Trump has targeted them for now. And what do I mean by that? Well, this is actually a huge escalation as it pertains to Saudi Arabia, because after Iran carried out a surprise attack on that US airbase in Jordan, the United States and Saudi Arabia actually carried out joint strikes targeting Iranian-backed forces in Iraq. Yeah, you heard that right. Iraq. Saudi Arabia has been doing whatever it can to just stay out of all of this. They want to de-escalate. But now they have chosen to enter the war, carrying out joint strikes alongside the United States against Iranian-backed groups in where? In Iraq. Okay, so we're back in Iraq. How fun.
Just wanted to check in.
Now, this does mark the first time that Saudi Arabia has entered this war. U.S. Central Command, and they haven't been
at the council
as
I think it's the
forthright with us in some ways. So I just want to be clear about that. This is fog of war type stuff, and I want you to be careful with what you believe and what you disbelieve. But this is what they're saying. U.S. Central Command said in a statement that the two militaries hit logistics and weapon sites across eastern Iraq in response to more than 30 drone attacks directed by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in recent days. A U.S. official said that Tuesday night's U.S.-Saudi strikes in Iraq had killed about 20 Iranian advisors, a combination of members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and technical advisors, the official said, speaking on condition of anonymity. Now, the sites in Iraq were allegedly deliberately targeted for that reason, as well as to knock out the ability of Iran-backed militias to launch missiles and drones. So unclear whether or not they actually succeeded in doing away with that capability from Iraq's territory. But the entire global community, let's not make any mistake about this, is already suffering severe consequences for this incredibly stupid war that President Trump decided to carry out against Iran beginning on February 28th at the behest of Israel. And what do I mean by that? Well, already we know that oil and gas infrastructure in the Gulf has been targeted and destroyed. We already know that the Strait of Hormuz has been blocked. We already know that the Houthis are now carrying out strikes in the Red Sea and have effectively blocked the Bab.
Working with such an outlier.
Feels so much better now.
Her dream indicates some memory
Hunter
of her
Biden.
remains in her unconscious.
Welcome to the Candace Owens Show.
It's wonderful to be
People
here.
are just going to be like, how on earth did this happen?
I know.
I did partake in just the inhumanity of just look at this guy at the worst moment of his life, like with prostitutes. He's on crack, he's on drugs, and we should make fun of him because it makes us feel good. Or it makes us feel like we're somehow beating the machine. And that it was, I think, a really warped viewpoint. And hearing you speak about it today, I'm just like, wow, it is so gross that I partake.
For you to say that to me, I truly mean it. Just from a purely selfish point of view, it means the world.
Only thing they ever did was chase us from the.
Is Hunter Biden cool?
I
Okay, so something crazy is happening. Now MAGA is starting to like Hunter Biden. What in the world is going on? Well, I'm gonna tell you after Anna tells you all the details of the story, the person who was on to Hunter Biden being king before anyone else was.
What? Okay, so let's be very clear about something. The people who seem to be warming up to Hunter Biden are MAGA defectors. These are people who were hardcore supporters of Donald Trump. In most cases, they voted for Trump 3 times. But genuinely did believe that Trump was going to release the Epstein files, prevent us getting involved in foreign wars. And then Trump reneged on those promises, which led to a faction of the MAGA crowd defecting. And so obviously Candace Owens is representative of that. And so she had this really lengthy interview with Hunter Biden that I appreciated. They talked about his struggles with addiction. And I think those conversations are actually really important because a lot of Americans are struggling with addiction right now. And I thought it was enlightening and informative and all of that. However, I'm also noticing that he is back on X. He took a hiatus, but he's back.
And we don't mean the drug X, we mean the platform X.
Correct.
You gotta clarify with Hunter.
And apparently he's putting out bangers, as the kids like to say.
Okay.
But before we get to those bangers, something shocking also happened today where President Donald Trump seemed to say something positive about Hunter Biden and his potential political future. Hunter Biden could possibly mount a successful White House bid despite his shaky past, given some of the congressional candidates recently backed by Democrats, President Donald Trump said Thursday. Speaking to reporters, and this is Fox News that I'm reading from, speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, Trump was asked by Fox News White House correspondent Peter Doocy about Biden or Hunter Biden. And apparently Trump said, you would think that the past has something to do with winning an election. And I would say his past is not the greatest. But then he goes on to say, hey, if the guy from Maine can do well, I guess Hunter could do well. What about you, homeboy? What about your past? What about your checkered past? What about the fact that before he got elected in 2016, we had the Access Hollywood tapes where he's talking about grabbing women in their private parts without asking.
Of course. Look, I'm starting to like Hunter for the reasons we're about to explain. But why are we talking about Hunter running for office?
I don't know.
This country
is a mess.
Is a mess because we think in terms of royalty. I remember after the Clintons, there was discussion that Chelsea Clinton would run for office. No, your kids don't have to run for office. Hunter Biden has no business in politics. He could do commentary, that's super interesting.
Paint, he loves painting.
That's true. You need a gas expert? He's your man?
No.
Okay, but seriously, guys, seriously, look, him doing this commentary is kind of fun. And you want to talk about politics, great. He doesn't have to run for office just because his last name is Biden.
I think he should just be, an S poster. You know what S stands for? I can't curse on the show.
Yeah, crap poster, right?
Yeah.
And Trump is so obvious. He's like, you should run Hunter Biden because he wants, he thinks we're dumb enough to run Hunter Biden and lose.
Okay, there is no we. We don't control who runs, and we're not. I'm not part of any establishment, right? Neither is Cenk. But can we just please have people who are qualified for the job, know what they're doing, and want to make the country better? But anyway, let me talk about the banger posts on X. Here's an example. In this one, he wrote, WTF timeline are we on? Someone called me the MAGA whisperer, and I'll gladly take the title. Left, right, D or R, Democrat or Republican, we all want the same things. We're being divided on purpose by the Epstein elite, just noise, but still F. Jake Brick Tamland Tapper on any timeline.
Yummy for my tummy.
Okay, look, I agree with everything written there, actually, but my mind wanders back to the last presidential race where behind the scenes you had Jill and Hunter Biden encouraging Joe Biden and his addled brain to remain in the race. And that was an issue that I don't think I'll ever forgive them for.
Yeah, that's a great point. But look, the reason why people like him now is because he sounds like a real person. And you could tell from all of his past, not a corporate robot. And that's the same reason why people like Graham Plattner. Originally, people liked Donald Trump because they thought he wasn't part of the elites. He is. He was just too dumb to be able to effectively act, and it wound up being an ironic advantage for him. But Hunter, I believe him when he says no F's given. Believe me, given his life, I believe it.
And people have been loving his posts, so I'll give you a few examples. One person writes, in recent memory, I don't think anybody has had a more successful debut on X than Hunter Biden. Dude announced his arrival, clapped back like a pro, and he's already got the whole timeline obsessed. This isn't a comeback, it's a victory lap. Welcome to the party, Hunter Biden. You're here to stay.
Yeah, people are saying he's response king.
He is response king because he's responding in a self-deprecating way, and he has a sense of humor, which I think people love. Okay, so I'll give you an example. So one person writes to him, "Your paintings, who gives an F? I want to know how much coke you snorted before posting this tweet." And he wrote, "Man, if you're gonna be mean, at least get it right. I smoked crack. I would never have wasted coke on snorting it. I didn't even know you could smoke cocaine, but apparently you can."
Well, that's crack.
Oh yeah, that's
Coke
right.
turns into crack.
Yeah. Anyway.
We're such nerds.
I mean, look, no, I'm not a nerd. I've experimented, just not with coke because it's such a waste. Like, oh, I'm gonna like damage my body for 15 minutes. No, if I'm gonna damage my body, it's gotta last a few hours. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I'm not
Keeping it
experimenting.
real.
I'm like older now. I'm not experimenting with anything. I'm fine. But let's go to some more posts because this one I really, really loved. Okay, no, I gotta give you one more. So, one person says, excuse me, but aren't you decidedly part of the elite oligarch class? You're the son of a career senator, former VP, and president who received the most legally overboard pardon, which may not even be constitutional in the history of the United States. Sounds pretty effing elite to me. And he responds with that photo of himself, which came out of the Hunter Biden laptop story. Do I look like I'm part of the elite oligarch class? This was taken at a Super 8 motel off 195, by the way. It's pretty good.
Crack's a hell of a drug.
Island paradise on Albanian protected land. Don Jr. married the daughter of Epstein's banker, and a startup his fund backs just got a record $620 million Pentagon loan.
That's true.
Eric is taking an Israeli drone company public for $1.5 billion in the middle of a war that with Iran that nobody wanted. And I know, quote, "But what about your paintings, Hunter? Please."
No, so I agree with Jake Tapper on attacking his mom. So it's the only time I agree with Jake Tapper. But the rest of it, he's totally right. And we've talked about it on the show. Look, we've called out Hunter Biden 100 times. We did it when Biden was in office because we're honest and we're principled. But he's an amateur compared to the Trumps,
yes.
Right? Like the $1.5 billion Israeli company that Eric's involved in, the $620 million is now a huge controversy. Don Jr. invested into that company just 3 months before they got that enormous loan. Where's my loan from the US government?
What about all of the crypto schemes that the Trump family is getting rich off of as well?
Let alone the worst of the worst, Jared Kushner, $2 billion from the Saudis after some believe he gave top intelligence illegally, our intelligence to the Saudis, which might have even cost some people's lives. And then he gets $2 billion he never did private equity before. He had no experience in that. It's just like Hunter being a Ukrainian gas expert. Kushner was not a financial expert at all. In fact, the only thing he ever did was real estate, and he had literally the worst investment in Manhattan history. He's the worst real estate developer and zero experience in finance. So, like, as we told you, they were like, "Oh, Hunter, you think you can do corruption? Hold my beer." Okay.
Yep, totally. And look, that's not to exonerate Hunter Biden or the Biden corruption as it pertains to serving on the board of Burisma. That was a problem, and we did call it out. We've never defended it. But I do think that it's wrong to operate under this weird double standard where the Trump family gets away with robbery. And this one thing involving Hunter Biden is what everyone focuses on endlessly. And by the way, there is a great reporting in ProPublica about that Don Jr. Story that he had alluded to in that post.
Just when you think the world can't get much crazier, it gets crazier because now we're seeing one of the most hard-line pro-Russian MAGA voices